You said that, therapy kind of helped you unpack, your pain and survivor's guilt. What pushed you to finally seek professional help?
Yeah, so my therapy stint though wasn't long. It definitely gave me the words though for you know the things that I had experienced. My work has been more therapeutic than therapy, but I was working over the jail, doing a program over DC jail through my job. At that time I was at Project Empowerment with the DC Department of Employment Services, and what made me say, man, I need to talk to somebody was my comfortability in jail, right? Like just though I had grew up visiting prison, I had never been back where the inmates are, like in there, and it's just so being there and not being uncomfortable in any way, it spoke to me. You know what I'm saying? Like what, like how, but I kind of got it in terms of like everybody that again that I had knew had been in that. You know what I'm saying? Or like when I'm even where I was at, it was dudes that I knew, you know, that was locked up, that was in the little program or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing pull-ups on the steps with the dudes over there. Whatever. Just I'm come on, man. You a workforce development specialist. Like what you doing? You feel me? Like why? You know what I'm saying? And the dudes even, hey, Tone, that's crazy. You ain't never been locked up before. Like, but also is another thing is like, but for them, for every man that was in there though, we from the same place though. Not me, they ain't from Hanover, but we from the same thing. So like we just in this environment, but it's like what would make me uncomfortable though? When I look at you, I'm looking at me like what can, and like I don't see you as no like animal or like you can do something to me that I can't do to you. I know like we the same thing. So like that, I think that's the thing that makes people not me nervous in that environment, right? Like, but I come from where you come. That was my rationale. So, but the door, the way the sounds of a jail, none of that alarmed me. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I thought that that was the thing that made me. And then my little cousin Alan got killed too, which was the closest thing to me. You know, God rest his soul. Um, those things combined, I felt like I needed to, um, seek some professional help, which was cool. But again, my work helping men and women return those classes that I would teach and things of that nature, sort of became the bedrock of like um, bringing clarity and uh, helping me to kind of press on.
In 2013, you spoke, at the prison where your father was incarcerated.
Yeah.
Well, what was it like, speaking there and then seeing him? And also, he told you he was proud of you too at that
Yeah,
time, right? What
yeah. I
was that
mean,
like?
it was crazy again to be, I probably saw my father probably, a month before that, 3 weeks before that. But coming into the prison in a professional capacity, not in the visiting hall, we going back in there with the inmate set, you know what I'm saying? And I would always tell my dad about, yeah, Pop, I did this, I did that, keeping him abreast, sending him pictures, whatever, right? But then for the first time, he was actually able to see me. We felt free in that moment. He was actually I wasn't there to see him. I was there to do my job. You understand? He just happened to be there. So for him to be able to like witness something that I would have to tell him about was a piece of freedom for us before he got free. Yeah, it was an incredible feeling. It was something we never thought that would even in that moment, they almost didn't let me in. You know what I'm saying? Just because in a federal, whose son worked for the federal government coming into a federal prison. I mean, the parent is a prisoner there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That don't happen. And I ain't talking about just on no DC thing. That don't happen nowhere in this country. That's just not, so they didn't even know what to do. Like I see him as a featured guest, right, on this paper. He's also on this visiting list. Like, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? But it happened. You know what I mean? God is good.
How do you feel like there's anything positive that your father took away from being in prison?
Yeah. I mean, I think the prison experience helps you to become more introspective, to work on yourself. um, to you know, understand what's important. Yeah, I think you get a clerk who love you. You really get to know who loves you, who's in your corner. You know what are the things in life that are really the most valuable. So yeah, I think and I think him being there also taught me those very similar things because we went through that together. And so through his situation, it helped me be very much more strategic and make more sound decisions in my life. Like for real with his advice and counsel and things of that nature. But just like watching and I know what he did for people. I know how he took care of people. I know how he looked out for people. And then when we looked around, a lot of them people wasn't there through that bid. You know what I'm saying? So it just taught me a lot about people. And yeah. So I think he definitely grew a lot from his incarceration.
And kind of like from your side, on your end, do you feel like you growing up and not having your father with you there, did that like kind of help you as far as like gain a lot more resilience than say like the average person growing up around where you
Yeah, I
grew?
mean, I don't think I had a choice. I think it definitely, right? Like there's a lot of things that because of the situation, um, I had to develop, right? I mean, one can only assume that, that's if it's a silver lining. But I don't know if I would have rather um, develop resilience a different way. If I had a choice, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely, I was forced to develop a whole lot of traits and do a whole lot of things that because he wasn't there, or we was in that situation without question. Like, I mean, you gotta think, man. Like, again, my father went to jail when I was 9, and I think people lose sight of that. He was in jail 34 years. Like, people hear that, but like, so it was 34 years worth of things that I had to shoulder, man. I had to do. That's the one thing about prison. No matter how much your person is away, they can have the best intentions, love you to eons, but they not here. I'm saying nothing like presence, man. I don't, you know, you can't you can't replace presence. You need, and that's for anybody out there, as relates to, that's in the mix. You know what I'm saying? More than likely, bro, your kid ain't gonna turn out like me if you gone 30 years. You know what I'm saying? It's just not the way it happens. And think about it. I even look at it from a standpoint, but think about all the deficits that I have. You know what I'm saying? Like, by him not being here, like it's still things that, I'm saying, I'm not without flaw. You know what I'm saying? And that like it's a very real thing. If I had both my parents in the way that I had them prior to him going to jail, who knows? I might be president of the United States or some shit. You understand what I'm saying? But I am grateful for God, grateful to God in terms of how He's blessed me, man. Like I said, I feel like the luckiest man in the world, for real, for real.